Hi, today I will be making fudge. Ann and I were hiking with our friends, Andy and Uta, a few weeks ago, and I told them about Mackinac Island and how nice it was, and no cars, you could rent bikes and go around the island. And I joked that you were not allowed to leave the island until you purchased a pound of fudge. And it turns out that at least these Germans, Andy and Uta, had never heard of fudge. So I told them what it was, and Andy's response was, no wonder Americans are so overweight. But anyway, they were very interested, and I'm going to send them the recipe of how to make this. And then I'm also going to put up this video showing how to make fudge. Here are the ingredients for making fudge. First we have marshmallow cream. Marshmallow comes, this is 7 ounces. Find it in most stores. Then we have 2/3 cup of evaporated milk. And I've already poured it into a 2/3 cup container there. Then we have a 1/4 pound of butter. We have 2 cups of white sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All of these things will be mixed together, and we'll cook that. And then when it's all done, we put in 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate bits, a teaspoon of vanilla, and then nuts. This is about a 1/2 cup or more of chopped walnuts. If you have somebody that has a nut allergy, of course, you can leave that out. So now we will begin the process. I erred on the description of the amounts in the fudge. It's actually a 1/2 stick of butter, which is 4 tablespoons, or actually 1/8 of a pound. And for the sugar, it's 1.5 cups, not 2. And I will now show you a copy of the recipe itself, so there'll be no more mistakes. Here is the recipe itself, with the correct measurements in it. I'm ready to start. First thing I do is put the butter in. Doesn't make a difference what order these go in. Put in the butter. Actually, and turn on the heat here. The butter, the evaporated milk, and the sugar, and the stuff that really, the super stickiest stuff you've ever seen in your life, which is the marshmallow cream. Put that in there, as much of it as we can. Actually, what I'll do is get a knife to scrape it off. And maybe get just a little bit more of this in here. Okay. And the salt. Now we start cooking it. So this is what it looks like when it starts off. And it'll take a few minutes before the ingredients totally melt and start to actually cook. Yeah, go ahead, stop. So the ingredients are all melted and they're starting to cook. But it's important that it has to start bubbling. It needs to actually boil for a little bit. And so we can see that there's a couple of bubbles on the side, but that's not good enough. It needs to be kind of a rolling bubble. And when it does, I'll start the clock, the timer, for 5 minutes. And usually 5 minutes is enough to get it all cooked. But it's not quite ready yet.
Stop.
Yeah. Now, okay, now it's starting to boil. So I'm going to continue to stir continuously while it's boiling. And I'm going to start my timer. Oh, darn it. There. So now I've got 5 minutes to go here. So you can see that it's boiling quite nicely here. And we'll come back when it's towards the end. Thank you. Going? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's about 5 minutes here, and it's changed color a little bit. The white is sort of gone. It's more yellow now. It's supposed to get up, according to the experts, to 235 degrees Fahrenheit. And I've got a little thing here that says that's kind of what we got.
Show it to me.
Now this thing, if I can get it to work here, 225. So we'll say that that's close enough for government work right now. Turn off the timer, and we'll turn off the heat. So now comes the best part of all. This is far and away the most fun. You pour in the chocolate bits. And stir them in. And very slowly, as they melt, it goes from that yellowish kind of a thing to a very, very nice, wonderfully rich, chocolatey looking sort of thing here. Getting there, getting there, getting there, getting there. Slowly. Yeah, this will be great. And a little bit of vanilla. Stir that in. Gives a great smell, of course, to the whole thing. And the chopped walnuts. As I say, they're kind of an optional sort of thing, but I like to have them. Now, I have prepared a 8x8 dish over here. I have an 8x8 dish over here. And we'll pour all of this wonderful stuff in there. You scrape off as much as you can, but then the rest will have to be eaten by somebody else in the house or by me, so it doesn't go to waste. I guess a spatula would have been better for this sort of thing, but there. Now we have made the fudge. And the final step, well, actually not the final step, the very next step is to put this in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. Thank you. Okay, so the fudge has been sitting in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. So because I used parchment paper, it lifts right out of the bowl, or the pan there. So now I'll cut it into nice pieces for people. Well, take a knife, sort of score it down the middle. And then score it on this side. And then this side right here. And then again over here. So this is a pastry cutter, but I find that it works pretty darn well for this. You can just sort of push it down a little bit. It goes all the way through. And push it down again, and you have that. Do that over here, second one. So then we just score it in the middle right here. And again, halfway here and here. And then all the way there. This side, do the same thing. Actually, at this point, I'm going to put some hot water on here. It's getting a little sticky. And we go here. Okay. Now I've got a little place over here. I've put some wax paper down. And we can just take the pieces and put them in here, sort of randomly. Don't worry too much about them looking particularly nice. I suppose other people might do it differently. Pay the cameraman, woman.
Yes, sir.
So we're headed off to Michigan in a couple of days, and I'm gonna take this with us. A major downside of this is that if I don't give away as much of the fudge as possible, I will end up eating it. So for my own welfare, it's better that I share it as much as possible.
All right, so
I'm gonna finish, well, what I'm gonna do here, I'll put on another wax paper and then I'll cut this. Then we're done. Ta-da!